Like, you want me to show up to protest, but 60% of Hispanics aren't there. Go get 30%. Go get half of that. Where we can say 40 voted, 30% came on. Now 70% of Hispanics are on the same page. 80% are the same. Because we can help, but 60% of you showed us that you don't care. You only care when it affects you, and now that it affects you, you want us to come to the rescue. But those 60% still vote for Trump. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm Ferg, aka Ferg. You like that now, huh? Join my co-hosts Buff and Rozzy's. Fellas, what it do?
Contentville, what up? Appreciate you guys carrying us on, inspiring you on air. Also, check us out on any podcast platform. So when we last recorded, y'all boy Elon and your president had a little falling out, a little short-term fallout. I think they are in the process of making back up. But I was a little disappointed in the media because I felt like what they were doing was something that's like for people like us to talk about, something to laugh about at work. Oh, did you see what Elon said and all this?
Trump's in the Epstein files.
Yeah, like it was so much other things going on, and like it was, they still were working on this so-called big beautiful bill and other things like that. So I don't want the media to be like everyday folks that's chatting on social media and stuff. Like, still cover the important stuff.
That's what sells, Buff.
Eat the Press dedicated like 2 or 3 segments to it, man. So, I was a little
but it gets the people
that.
going.
Not really, because man, ain't nobody checking to see what people on Meet the Press are saying about it. They want to see what their favorite podcasters are saying about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Also, my new favorite tennis player since Serena has now retired, Coco Gauff, won her second major, man. Yeah. She won the French Open. And I'm a little disappointed in her opponent, but I also like it. Like Arena Sabalenka was kind of hating. She was kind of shading a little bit.
Kind of.
She was shading. She was like, the weather was bad and it was windy and it was the
sun
mistakes
was in my
I
eyes
made.
And
I'm like, I guess
the
Coco
acoustics
didn't
in
have
here,
to play.
and
I guess the wind didn't affect her. But
they change. They change sides.
When Coco was serving, the wind stopped. But first off, I like how Coco handled it. She's only 21, and I hope this turns into a nice little rivalry. I hope it does, because I think before the French Open, they were like 6 apiece in matches played. And I think this one put Coco over, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just hoping it becomes like a nice little rivalry, man. Like, just imagine if they meet in the finals in Wimbledon again, or the U.S. Open. Like, they're going to play those comments again. So I like a villain, and I don't mind, because it's usually the black athlete that's the villain. But hey, Sabalenka, if you want to be the villain, I'm for it. Let's go, man. So I kind of like it. And I like when athletes care about losing. Like, they want to win so bad that they are an asshole when they lose. Serena was an asshole sometimes when she lost. Mm-hmm. So I like that passion. In order to be at the top of the world in a particular profession, you're going to have some asshole qualities about you. Yeah. And so
Jordan.
Yeah, we hear about Jordan all the time, man.
Mamba mentality.
What Kobe told Smush Parker, hey, man, you don't have the accolades to talk to me. That was his teammate. It was his teammate, bro. So
but did he lie?
He did not.
Are you going to
the only other thing I got, man, is so I probably won't.
My credit card sent me like, hey, sign up and be able to go or whatever. And I was like,
flex.
Yeah. See, I was going to try to go last year, and I wound up not going. See,
what are the dates?
My thing is, it's like late August, beginning of September. But it's like, I need to figure out how the tickets work, because they play on, like, I think 2 or 3 different courts in Flushing, New York. And so I want to make sure I see Coco. And then it's like, do I pick the championship round? She doesn't make the championship round, then I'm shout. But then I pick her earlier round and she does make it to the championship. I'm like, oh man, I really wanted to be at the championship rounds.
Yeah. So how they work, they give you day passes, but they give you day passes for each court. So if you want to be able to jump between courts or whatever, you basically got to pay for all 3 courts there. And so that's the hard part there is it's like you get passed to that court for that day and that's it. And so you got to decide which one you're going to do. I'm sure they have like, park hopper type of passes or whatever, but they're probably way more expensive. So
Roger's credit card person told him about that.
Email. It was just
the same
email.
person.
I'm on an email blast.
So would you wait to see if she made the championship and then buy the ticket like a day? Because it's usually the last round is usually like 2 days before the championship.
If you're going just to see her, I'd probably go to first or second round just to make sure you see her, just in case.
Mm.
And then if you want to go back, buy that championship, if she makes it and you want to go see her, try to buy it. But they're probably going to be sold out and you're going to have to, pay aftermarket prices for it. So that's the hard part about figuring out when you want to go.
Yeah, it's a little tricky, man.
Yeah.
But I do want to see her play. I miss Serena, so I want to see her play more than once. Like I want to see her often. And by New York not being that far away, I definitely want to try to make it happen. Oh, the only other thing I got, man, we talked about this on the show about 2 or 3 episodes ago. I have an update on Hilliard Toy Clyott and Katrina Martin. This is the couple who had their house kicked in by the FBI, and the FBI had the wrong address. And the Supreme Court, which we know, the Supreme Court is currently 6-3 conservative, with the likes of Clarence Thomas and others on there. They unanimously kicked this back down to the lower court and told the lower court, you guys need to look at this again. We understand that federal agents are pretty much always absolved of being sued, but they're not allowed to be unreasonably reckless. And the fact that they didn't look at the address, they didn't even use a GPS, they didn't even double check to make sure they had the right house. It's damn near like they said, oh, hey, that's it right here, let's go, and just kicked it in. I think Neil Gorsuch wrote the opinion for the entire court and pretty much said that they're like, hey, nah, you can't just kick in a door without doing any type of diligence whatsoever on whether or not you have the right house. So they're asking the lower court to look at it again and give them the opportunity to sue the FBI. So it's just something I'm interested in, man. I've always been a detractor, so to speak, of no-knock warrants. I just think it's a better way to get violent criminals, especially if they're in a house with family or whatever like that. I just think it's too many unknowns. So it's something I'm interested in, and as long as I get updates, I'm going to keep you guys and the listeners updated on it, man. So, but that's all I got.
Nice. Couple things I got.
Hold on, real quick. Byron, have you seen Zero Day? It's on Netflix.
Is that on Netflix?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I see it, when I'm scrolling it.
Yeah. Speaking of the no-knock warrants and stuff like that, it's a really good watch. I'll tell you that. It's about like a cyber attack against America. A lot of shit happened. The president created a special committee, and it gave them autonomy to do a lot of stuff. And it goes into what you're talking about. I think you'll like it. It's really good, really good watch. And you got De Niro on it.
Add it now.
Nice. That's it, Fert? Can I go?
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Yeah. Can I?
Yeah.
All right. So,
My bad.
just wanted to, first of all, when you were talking about Meet the Press and how people don't want to watch that, they want to see their favorite streamer or YouTuber or whatever. Shout out to Kevin Hart, man. So the BET Awards came this past weekend, and Kevin Hart was the host. And Kevin Hart said that he would not host it unless they let Kai Cenat stream it. And so Kai Cenat was the first person ever to be able to stream the BET Awards live. And that's kind of what you're talking about, is a lot of people that wouldn't tune in to the BET Awards to watch it would watch the BET Awards through Kai Cenat's stream. And so I think we're getting into this kind of normalization of streaming and internet personalities and YouTubers and things like that being part of the normal dynamic of media, because media was trying to push that to the side for a long time, like, oh, that's not traditional media. And I think we're starting to evolve to, no, that's traditional media too. and you just got to be used to and get ready for that to be on top of your, prime time, putting it on BET, putting it on ABC, CBS. You may have a couple streamers that are streaming it totally separate from that. And I don't know how you work out deals with that or whatever, but if you want to reach the younger audience, that's how you do it. It's not putting it on ABC and hoping that they'll watch and turn it on at 7:00 on Sunday. So,
and shout out to BET as a whole, man. The BET Awards was really good this year.
It was
compared to like the last 2 years. I know one year people was like, it's so ghetto. And I don't know if it's because they were celebrating the 25th year anniversary. And so it was a lot of nostalgic performances, and they brought back a lot of old artists, a lot of old artists. They had like, I think 4 Icon Awards.
Thought that was a bit. That was a bit much.
Yeah, I thought that was a little overdone. I'm like, you should have one icon per award show.
I'm like, man.
But who was it that kind of called it out and was like, hey, we got to stop making it like it's less than the Grammys? I can't remember which one of the icons said that, but they were like, we need to make the BET Awards and be proud of that instead of like chasing Grammys or, chasing Oscars. He's like, the BET Awards, this matters. This matters a lot. And he was really excited about that. So,
yeah,
shout out to that.
And I've preached that before.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
So,
but it was good.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Never mind.
What's up?
No.
Ferg.
The hot take is, because the talent is there. I don't want to say there's a lack of talent, but when you narrow the playing field, right? Are you only looking at certain movies, certain genres, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus you have this huge blockbuster that might have just been a better movie, right? It's just, this is the best of the black, which is totally fine. But I think there's be proud of what we have. Like, I don't want to knock the BET Awards by any means. I don't watch any of the related award shows. It's too long, and half the stuff I don't know. Once again, the BET Awards had me like, so who's that? Who's that again? This year, like you said, because there was more old school and tributes to the old school, I felt a little more connected. But in recent award shows, I'm sitting like, I have no idea who any of these people are.
I can see that.
I don't want to just going to search like affirmation from others.
Mm-hmm.
But, I almost hate to say, like, is this that DEI conversation? Like, when you look like, okay, you're the best of this genre versus just you're the best of the best.
So would you want the BET Awards to open it up and say, hey,
no,
we're going to give the BET Awards to white movies or white artists or whatever based on album of the year at the BET Awards can be anybody, right? It's just that BET and that committee is saying who gets it versus the Grammys.
I don't know what I want. I'm just saying there's a difference.
I don't think it has to be only black artists. I don't know if Eminem ever won an award, but I know he's performed at the BET Awards.
Yeah, he's won
because
some.
He catered to entertaining black entertainment. It's a shame that was Mariah Carey's first award. And so I was like, is that because they consider her white? I don't know. Mariah Carey is a damn legend. That was her first award. And her first award is the Icon Award. So y'all acknowledge she's an icon, but you've never thought she was good enough to win anything.
Well, apparently she's a queen.
So that kind of speaks to what Ferg is saying. Like, are y'all just narrowing it down to black people? I think if they narrowed it down to, and it's not about movies, it's just about music. So
music, that's what I'm saying.
If the music is what black people have gravitated to, then I think they should be up for a nomination, whether they white, black, or whatever.
Then at the same time, you have to accept the fact that when whoever the party is in charge, the governing body, you have to appeal to them. So the same way BET Awards, we're saying you need to appeal to the culture. If the Grammys is saying this is not about the culture, like the governing body, this is our culture, and we're not winning awards. If Beyonce doesn't win Album of the Year and Taylor Swift wins it, well, she catered more to the culture.
Mm-hmm.
The non-culture or whatever whatever we call it. But no, the icon, there was way too many icons. They called Mariah Carey queen several times. I'm like, I wonder how many black women are sitting here. All right, yeah, the queen. Okay. Queen is queen. Like, all right, that's a lot. That's a lot of queens. But it was a good show. Stevie had me rolling.
Yeah. Shout out to
Jamie Foxx was Jamie Foxx.
Glow did her thing, man. Okay, I like Glow really.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx had a really, I think his tribute, even though he had a long speech, was a really good one and really heartwarming. You could see that it got him.
Yeah, Jamie was the one that said that. Jamie was the one that said
that boy was crying.
Care about the BET Awards more. He was the one that said that. Yep. So it was good, man. So, but speaking of for the culture and all of that and awards and everything, Beyonce is the last person to win Best Country Music Album because they are splitting the award now, and it will be contemporary and traditional country music or album, so that you can have the traditional folks win. So to your point, Ferg, about
real country,
sliding real country versus pop country there, so that they can have something. I actually don't mind that, truthfully, because I do feel like they're very different genres of country music, but
yeah,
it makes sense.
Was last year the first year they've had different genres of country music?
No, I mean, I'm not knocking what you're saying about why they did it. We know why they did it. It's because Beyonce won, and they didn't feel like that. Shabuzi's probably going to win next year, and so they're like, oh, wait a minute, we can't do this, right? Like, we can't have that going on, and so they needed a genre that white artists could win in the country music thing. So I see why they did it, but I'm just saying, from a music lover, I understand why they separated those, because they contemporary country is diverted really, really far from your traditional country music. And that started really from Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus, right? Like, they started kind of really getting into making it more poppy versus traditional, and so that's where you saw that diversion. It was very long ago, and again, we know why they did it this year, but I'm just saying, it makes sense from a musical standpoint. So just want to throw that out there. And finally, all I got to say is, you guys know I will eat and try pretty much anything. And I just want to say, Doritos, I don't know what y'all were thinking with the ketchup and spicy mustard. Those are disgusting. I literally gagged when I tried the spicy mustard. I don't know anybody who would be like, oh yeah, this is the one. So anybody, listeners out there, chat, if y'all anybody who liked those, drop a comment, let us know, because I couldn't do it. Like I said, I gagged, almost threw up when I tried that. So anybody who was thinking about maybe trying it, don't. Just don't. Stay away from it. So
no, I'm happy that happened to you. I'm happy. You got what you deserve. It just, at a certain point, it's like, I just wanted to see how disgusting it was. It's like, you one of those kids, you have to, the stove is hot, Rozzy. I don't know if anybody ever told you that. Trust me. Well, you guys have kind of been nice today. I mean, with everything going on in the world, we did we get a cease and desist on talking about the storm we're facing right now?
Where them fans at? We learned the line dances, man. I can't. It's so much going on. You don't like it? My bad. Go ahead, Ferg. Go ahead.
No, I'm just seriously, but every day this week it's just something new. I mean, we thought that was last week with the buddies breaking up, the bromance in jeopardy. Last week was a freaking win compared to this week. Starting with Israel and Iran.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that is just,
to the listeners out there,
that's dangerous.
Israel launched an attack into Iran, and Iran responded, and so yeah, they are officially at war.
We just had a judge that was supposedly assassinated.
Two state senators and their spouses, they were break-ins, and one of the state senators has died, and their husband has died. And I actually had this at the end. I was going to talk about this at the end of the show, but it's sad because when it happened, you know how Saturday Night Live did that sketch of is it black people? Is it white people? Like, who is it? First thing we were like is don't be a Democrat. Don't be a progressive. Don't be, anybody like that. Be MAGA, be MAGA, be MAGA. And then when the information came out, who they're hunting, we don't know if that's the person that actually did it, but who they're hunting right now was actually a political appointee by Governor Tim Walz. So they targeted these two state senators because they voted with Republicans to remove healthcare benefits from immigrants. And so basically they're saying, oh, you didn't toe the line. And so the guy went out and tried to kill him. So, but it's scary.
Actually, it's especially alarming, man. I think about my job, man, when I started 20 years ago, and just how much more dangerous the political climate has gotten. And even though that's on a state level, it definitely is in the back of your mind, man. The political climate now, um, it's completely out of hand and dangerous. And I don't know, man. Also, on a lighter note, you mentioned Iran bombing Israel. Man, they launched like 150 missiles and only 9 of them hit the target. Got some bad aim over there, man. But
No, they have a their
Steel
missile
Dome.
defense
They have
system
missile
is like,
defense system.
that's right. Yeah.
The best
yeah,
in
the
the
Steel
world.
Dome
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but they said that the 9 that hit, they said they got through because they're supersonic, and so they actually move faster than the reaction can happen. So
That's
scary
troubling
to hear
too. Yeah, I was gonna say that's troubling too. Like, did we have any warning? Like, I only just saw the alert. Like, I didn't even know.
No, I mean, well, you know, there's probably somebody knew something, right?
Yeah,
There's always somebody with information. No, but it came as a surprise. It came as a surprise, and you know, the
even
commander,
from the
intelligence.
conversation, and like not even on the oh, we didn't know they were gonna attack. I mean, that's operational security. I understand us not knowing that, but I didn't see the escalation of conversation. Like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that is surprising to me. Like I was scratching my head like, okay, I knew Iran was back in Gaza and Palestine, but I didn't know it was to the point where Israel was like, yeah, we're done in Palestine. Let's go into Iran. Like that's a jump that you would normally see escalating conversations happening, maybe some posturing or anything. This was just like, all right, blitzkrieg, let's keep going, and we're gonna keep moving into there when they're already fighting. Who is it, Yemen, as well as still Palestine a little bit there. It's crazy out there, man. The world's kind of just on one today or this week.
We're at a time where you really need serious people making leadership decisions in our government, and unfortunately, never mind.
Yeah, and my thing about it is, we talk about intelligence. I've read that Trump said he knew, right? But it's back to your political climate. I don't know what to trust anymore. Just period. Something as serious as Israel, Iran, to what's going on in California and across the nation with, which I'm going to talk about later, and with the protests, to the freaking freaking P Diddy trial. Like I don't know what's real anymore, man. It's just like to the point where, Bryce, you were talking about live streamers and content creators. There's a place for them, but I don't know the end result of them, because so many people have these followers and listeners that they're not vetted. If we had the followers, imagine the things we could say, the impact we can make, whether good or bad. Like there's people who take these things and run with it. And I'm to the point where for the last year or two, I've had a subscription to the Washington Post, and at the very least, I would try to listen to the Sevens report, right? And I can't even listen to that anymore. Like for one, it's just overwhelming. Everything is just depressing. And now I just don't know what's what. And it's just the fact that Trump's like, we knew. And then it's kind of disheartening for him to almost just say, hey, Iran, get your shit together. Just get the deal together. Like he's basically bullying and support. Seems like he's supporting everything that Israel does. And I think this is what Israel's been waiting for years. Is somebody in the U.S. that's going to let them do what they want to do. And then last but not least is, and I'm pretty sure there's several questions that can come from this, the recent protests starting in California, especially LA, where Trump has sent National Guards, Marines. It's very concerning how this escalated so quickly, and it didn't need to escalate. That's part of it. And then that is like the bigger picture. But aside to that is this narrative between black and brown. We're at a crossroads on where this relationship's going. If there is a relationship, it can it be, I don't think we're like about to go to cultural war, but I think it's an eye-opening time in our country. It's like when you're looking at minority groups that for the most part have kind of interacted and supported each other to a certain extent. And we've been talking about this for a while. I think it's reached its head. It is at it's at the tipping point where you just said, hey, we're learning line dances. We're gonna sit this one out. Fate, I heard somebody, talk about they did the show, the Homer Simpson meme or gif where he's fading into the bushes. My idea is, I'm surprised nobody's coined the term fade to black. If not, then we could do that.
Y'all had a great conversation in our group chat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of that you want to reveal. But
yeah, we can talk about that.
I read that.
Actually, that was going to be my question for the day.
I wanted to talk about. I feel like that is a very good talking point. Did you see the video that I shared though? Did you watch that video?
Mm-hmm. Which one though? I mean,
it was one where it was this Hispanic podcasters, content creators, whatever, and they were talking about where's the black support, and the guy really hit on it, and it was just facts.
Right.
And it was one of those, it was so close to, what about black on black crime type thing. It was one of those like, hey, so for y'all that don't know, there have been protests, and actually a lot of people probably don't know it. It's been quiet for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Considering, usually there's big protests on social media, you just see people talking about it left and right. There's not a lot of chatter, at least in my feed, about the protests.
It was because it wasn't huge. It like the protests happened. More protests happened after Trump activated the military than before he activated the military. So that's the thing about it, is he just wanted a chance to activate the military there. And because it was, people were going to go to a Home Depot and, just protest the ICE coming in, rolling up these day workers and everything else. And it turned to, we hear about this and we're going to go and activate the National Guard to protect the federal buildings that are around, and federal workforce, which is the ICE is considered a federal workforce. And so that's what they're saying, is that he's using the excuse that he can federalize the National Guard and use them to protect federal workers. And so that is his argument. Now, the courts have gone and said, no, that's a stupid argument. You need to give the National Guard back to the governor, because that's the other part about it, is normally the governor has to request that they be moved, or he has to request it from the governor, and the governor has to accept it with the National Guard, because the National Guard is owned by the state. They are not owned by the federal government.
But isn't he trying to get the governor arrested or something?
He is, because he's saying the governor isn't complying with the federal regulations or the ICE raids. So he is trying to get Governor Newsom or any other mayor or anything like that that's like trying to block ICE from doing these raids. So they're trying to say, oh, you can be arrested for obstruction of justice on that. The other part about it, though, is not just the National Guard. He activated active duty Marines, which is huge because of posse comitatus, right? We literally have a law that says that you can't activate, like, other than martial law, military cannot be used for policing of U.S. civilians and population. That's what, in a nutshell, what posse comitatus is. And
which has led to a whole other group of protests.
Right, because he activated Marines to do it, and veterans have been protesting. They actually stormed the Capitol again, or they're saying that they did a sit-in on the Capitol steps based on that. But he activated these Marines, and the Marines have, the first time in U.S. history, the Marines have actually detained a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil, like, based on this, because a U.S. citizen was trying to go into VA, and the Marines were setting up a perimeter or whatever. He was trying to walk into VA. They detained him for hours, tried to give him to ICE, and then ICE couldn't do anything because he was a U.S. citizen. But that was like the first time that has happened. What's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, he entered our cordon, he shouldn't have been, we didn't know what was happening, blah, 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 blah. That's what they're going to use. But they shouldn't have been there in the first place, which is why we're saying the Posse Comitatus Act is a big deal for them even being there and being activated for this Home Depot protest that was about to happen. Like, LA listeners, LA is not burning, right? It's not this huge thing that they're trying to make it out to be. The White House is basically lying to you guys when they say, oh, it's this huge thing. Like I said, the more of the riots and the protests are happening after he activated them than before. So
it's gotten worse since the beginning.
Yeah.
There was never a need to activate. There wasn't even a need to. We're talking about the Marines. There was never a need to activate
the National Guard.
And that's what Governor Newsom is saying. Is it was pretty peaceful for the most part. You escalated it, and you continue to escalate it, and now there's a whole separate group of riots, and potentially somebody will, I don't know.
It's like you said, it's escalating. The other part about it is because protests are happening nationwide. Like today is No King Day. We're recording on No King Day, June 14th, and so there are police forces now that are literally saying, if you throw a rock at us, we will shoot you dead.
Florida.
Yeah. Like
just Florida. Florida's Florida.
It makes no sense. They're like, that's deadly force. I'm like, that is not deadly force. That is, I mean, you do riot training for a reason. Like, you understand there's probably going to be some stuff thrown at you every once in a while. You should not just open up and start shooting into a crowd based on somebody throwing a rock at you. Like, we don't want a Tiananmen Square here in the United States.
I will say, don't throw rocks.
That's true. That is true. So
throwing rocks is bad.
Yes.
So, but and I get it. Like you're a police officer, right? So I get it. If I'm sitting at home and Buff is on that riot line and somebody throw a rock and Buff shoots somebody, I'm like, they shouldn't have thrown a rock. Like,
I'm just saying, I don't want to get hit with a brick. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to get hit with a brick.
Right. So I get it, but you know what I'm saying? I have faith in you and your team that if they did throw a rock and it wasn't a brick, right? Or it wasn't something that like you really were, like we saw January 6th, right? They were throwing and all that stuff and they didn't shoot, well, Ashley Babbitt. So they shot one person, right? But they didn't shoot, they just didn't just indiscriminately shoot into the crowd, right? Like that is very,
and that's
very
how
different.
He makes it sound.
And that's what
he's like, you throw a rock, hell's gonna break loose.
Right.
To the point you don't even need to say that.
And I don't know who the mayor or whatever, but he should, those comments should damn near be criminal, because
that is
officers have to be responsible for every round you shoot. And so like you're right, Roz, even if somebody does throw a brick at me, while one-on-one, I can articulate potentially using deadly force. But a crowd, I don't see who threw it, but I'm mad enough, so I'm just going to shoot somebody. That's not how that works, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So it was alarming. It was a lot of alarming shit.
Yeah,
going on.
And I mean, we had to understand rules of engagement. We're talking about American citizens on American soil who are doing a protest. 95% of it, 99% of it's peaceful. When we were deployed, we had rules of engagement. I always go back to the military because we're at war. Like, this is not like, hey, let's go protest today. We're at war. We got full battle rattle. We got all this stuff. And even then, they weren't saying, hey, they throw rocks, kill them. We couldn't say that. Like, we couldn't say this. This is we're at war with this country, and we can't do that. And so, in my mind, when we're talking about cooler heads prevail and being a leader, like, hey, it's going to be crazy out there. Use your best judgment. If something happens, I want to be able to say that I can stand behind Byron and his judgment 100% versus they throw rocks. You come this way, we killing you. Like, you already preempted the notion. You planted this in my head that, I'm expecting something to happen. So, but let's keep it going. We talked about that part, but let's get into it. So,
yeah,
Raj,
I'll just ask the question then. Like Buff talked about, we talked a little bit about this. We've been discussing this whole what should Black people be doing in response to these ICE raids, to anything that's happening, right? All the political craziness that Trump is bringing out. So it's not just the ICE raids. That's one thing there. I want to specifically ask about that, but there's so much more going on, and how should we react to it? And we make fun like, oh, we're just doing these line dances and we're not really worrying about it because we're going to be all right. But with these ICE raids, I feel like it really is Nazi Germany, right? Like, this is the start of Nazi Germany. This is exactly how it happened. And so, people be like, oh, how are you guys trying to make that case or whatever? I'm like, because it literally is exactly how it happened. There's almost like play by play what's happening there. So, to just say we're just going to sit back and let it happen, and when it starts affecting us, then we'll try to react. You've let the enemy get too powerful at that point, right? And so I want to ask you guys, what should the black community be doing at this point when these things are affecting the Hispanics and Latinos, but eventually it will shift to us, or can shift to us? So what should we be doing right now?
I think it's important to understand before we even get to what we should be doing on the why he's even doing this in the first place, especially the recent ones in California where we all agreed National Guard wasn't needed or anything. Like, I think they saw one car on fire and he saw an opportunity to overreact, which is what he wanted to do. But before we even get into that, the reasons I see him doing it, in my opinion, it takes away attention from that big, beautiful bill that was becoming increasingly unpopular. Mm-hmm. Like, it literally passed the House, which is controlled by the Republicans, by one vote. And you already had senators saying, it costs too much. I don't like what it's doing to people on Medicaid. So it was becoming increasingly unpopular. Divert attention. We saw this playbook in his first term. Like, he threw so much at the media. They barely knew what to cover. It makes his base feel good. They love to see the use of force with this type of stuff. And it has very political harm to him. It's in California. It's a blue state. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't care if the people there get upset at him, because that's a state he's not going to win anyway. And I think it puts Democrats specifically, I know we've went back and forth on whether or not Gavin Newsom is a 2028 potential presidential candidate, but it puts him and the Democratic Party in a position where they have to defend immigration. And the reason why that can be difficult is because when an average American hears immigration, they automatically think illegal. Like, that's the main argument you hear people saying when you hear people like us say, yeah, this messed up what they doing. Well, what do you got against him rounding up illegal people? They shouldn't be in this country anyway. They're not all illegal. They're not even making sure these people are illegal. They're literally like arresting people that are citizens, working, that are paying taxes. Those are not the people that should be rounded up.
Not only that, but they are taking away legal status from them and then deporting them. So like they're going to their appointment, right? And like the judge says, oh well, no, you're not going to get it status. You're not going to get status. Or even before they go see the judge, they're rounding them up. But at that point where the judge says, no, you can't have status, I mean, they were legal up until 2 minutes ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, get that man a second to leave.
Listen, this man, since his first term, and I think to him, it's the biggest mistake he made. He didn't play the long game. Once that 2020 election was over, he started pushing to have the proper people in position in these state houses and legislators, the right secretary of states that will certify an election if there's any question for him this time as opposed to 2020. You look at now, like I say, Gavin Newsom is a potential candidate. It makes the Dems defend something that the average American thinks is unpopular anyway. Why are you defending these criminals? Why do you have sanctuary cities? It is the long fucking game. As far as what black people should do, we got to do the very first step first, bro. And I know this, I don't know how many people are going to agree with this, but I think largely black people and Hispanics don't rock with each other. I know politicians and elite people always say black and brown, like we're some unified force. From what I've seen and in my experience, we're not on the street, everyday common level. We get along because we usually are living in the same proximity of one another in certain cities and urban areas. But for the most part, we don't rock with each other like that. So we should have unity because there is a common threat and a common enemy that we need to unify against. So until we reconcile that on the street level and stop having these elite people have everyone think that we are more unified than we're not, I don't see what we can do, because we can come and go stand with them and go protest with them, but I don't necessarily see that happening until we get the message out there on the why we need to be fighting. And that's what I loved about the conversation you, Cooley, and Ferg had on why we should be out there. So the first thing we need to do is convince our own people, because I've seen a lot of TikToks and messages like, ain't my black business. I'm mind my black business. Ain't got nothing to do. They around and found out. That's their problem. They voted for him. And I have said that too. I have said they around and finding out. But it's getting serious now. And that I like to have fun with around and find out, but it's getting serious. And we've got to start telling our own brothers, our own sisters, why we should join in on this, because once they get rid of enough of them, they're gonna, well, I'll let you say it, Rising, because it was your literal answer on Haitians and black people and stuff like that. They're not making a distinction on who's El Salvadorian, who's Mexican, who's Venezuelan. They're not making a distinction. They're just seeing somebody that looks Spanish and rounding them out. They're not going to make a distinction between us and Haitians, Jamaican, or anybody else they want to get rid of that has dark skin. And that's why we need to get in the fight. So the first thing we need to do is establish the why, and then we can establish the how.
Hey, I'll be the bad guy. Because I understand everything you say, and I feel like we're the bleeding heart of America. Black people, and I always talk about black women, but black people generally are the and Byron, you said this, black people don't like America. We are the most loyal group of people in this country. Because
too loyal.
And I think this is where I'm going with it. I think because we understand being the underdog, because we understand the plight, it's not a pissing contest. It's just the fact that everybody's had their challenges, right? Every group of people, every minority group has had challenges, and there's a path to growth. Some people have made it out, and I think when you understand the general Hispanic mindset, where it's like proximity to whiteness, we talked about that several times. Like, they have a path that is to improve and I forgot the terminology, but it's basically to improve the family. That is kind of a mantra in a lot of Hispanic cultures, to improve the family, and to improve the family is to get closer to whiteness. And so we don't have that. Now we have some groups, and you go, certain areas of the country, and, you talk about some Creoles and stuff like that, and where they're trying to get, more light every year, every generation. But for us, me and my black ass kids will be black, right? It is what it is. And so we don't have that path, but we always empathize with everybody's struggle. And very rarely does somebody continuously empathize with our struggle. And so I think we've talked about abuse and being victims a while, and how hard it is for victims to leave. I think we've been victimized long enough, and this is our way next hell moment or whatever, where we're like, you know what? The fight's still there. There will always be a fight. But this could be our fight, but this isn't our fight. Because if it was us getting deported, who would come to our rescue? Who is our ally? Who is the biggest ally in the black struggle?
Liberal whites.
Sure.
There's some good ones.
Yeah, there's some good ones. But at the end of the day, is it a fad? If it was a race war, are they going to come to the cookout and meet with us and fight to the death? Right? There's some. There's some.
Okay. All right.
There's some. But I was
gonna say the Freedom Riders. Yeah.
But it is always the minority, right? We as a people are expected to stand with people. We are the blacks. Not the liberal blacks, the few blacks. They expect black people to empathize and to come be a partner and an ally. And what we should do is we should be a partner and an ally because the stakes are great. But what we need to do is focus on what we're going to do for our community right now, because they are coming for us. And what can we do to strengthen our foundation right now? Because we're next. And I don't know what we can do that we haven't done in the past. because I think a lot of our energy is helping other people.
Yeah.
We spend so much time helping it. Somebody always has a problem. Somebody always needs help. And a lot of those groups make it, right? A lot of those groups see progress, and they then once they see progress, guess what happens?
Yeah.
This reminds. Oh, well, I'm sorry.
My bad.
No, I was gonna say it reminds me of. I think it was Razi's question an episode or two ago about if a country attacked California, would Texas go? Would you go help, or would you just wait till it came to you? And that's kind of what this whole decision is right here. So I guess what I would ask you is, because nothing you said was wrong, not any of it. Even mantra, Black Lives Matter mantra included more than black. It was like, queer and gay and brown people and all. It wasn't, we never get anything focused just on us.
Because we're the face of the oppressed. That's why. So
what I would ask Ferg is, so I don't think you're wrong at all, but waiting until it gets to us, would it not be advantageous for us to join and have a bigger front line versus a smaller front?
Oh, I get it. I'm with you 100%. I'm just like, I think we're tired. I don't think we know what to do anymore.
I can't argue with that.
We tried less than a year ago.
No, not only that. You think about where I keep citing Rising, but the whole when they got rid of the whole what was it, affirmative action at these elite schools, and the Asians at first were like, yeah, that's right, yeah.
They brought it up, right? They're the ones
once they saw it, was affecting them, the most.
Yeah. So the video I posted in our group, and their response was like, "Why aren't black people helping?" It's kind of like, hey, you know what? We're not even saying no. About 60% of Hispanic voters voted for Trump. So let's say 40% didn't. Go get that 60 first, because you're throwing us on the front line. You want us to come to your rescue. You got 60% of your people who aren't, like, why should we come to the front line? Hey, you know what? I can be support. Like, we're talking about war. Like, why am I defending your country? Going like, I'll just watch that Vietnam documentary.
Think about Ukraine right now, right? Like, no, we're not putting troops on the ground, but we'll send you some support. We'll send you some arms.
But I need that 60% that voted against you. Do you have the same disdain for them? Are those 60% at that march? Like, you want me to show up to protest, but 60% of Hispanics aren't there. Go get 30%. Go get half of that. Where we can say 40 voted, 30% came on. Now 70% of Hispanics are on the same page. 80% are saying, because we can help, but 60% of you showed us that you don't care. You only care when it affects you, and now that it affects you, you want us to come to the rescue. But those 60% still vote for Trump. Even though no, of course they wouldn't. Statistics have shown it doesn't matter what the hell they do. He does. People still vote for him. So why would we come in if you don't go get that 60%, show a united front, and then come to us? I'll be support. If it's a $10 check, help somebody get out of jail, taking up a GoFundMe. Here's $10. That's cool, right? But I don't need to be on the front line. Why should we be on the front line?
Yeah, I agree there, though. I mean, for the listeners out there, my response in our group thread was basically like, what they're doing is a test case to be able to do this at any given point, anytime in the future, right? Activating the military, right? Because as soon as they say, it was a riot or whatever in LA, that's why they activated it. So what's next going to be like, oh, we need to clean up this lawlessness in Birmingham, Alabama. We need to go into Chicago because it's lawless. And now you have actual martial law, but without being declared martial law, which is even scarier, right? And so that's what I mean by, like, we've got to activate now so that we can push back with, like you said, Buff, where we've got them on the line with us versus half of them are gone or they're super tired. So now that they shift the focus to us, they can't help us. And now it's just us. It's a small group of us trying to figure it out. I want us to really think about how we can help, how we can support, and I agree with you, Ferg, without putting our black bodies on the line, right? Everybody can support and help in whatever way they can. Can you call your senators and your Congress people? Can you, make those donations to these, firms or whatever? If you're a lawyer, can you give free legal advice to these folks, right? Or be on ground for that? If you're a doctor or a nurse or whatever, all right, I'm not going to the protest, but I'll be in the back lines. I'm going to be passing out water or whatever on the back lines. I'm going to do something to help, because yes, we do need to push back against this, and I'm going to support that and help there. So everybody helps. And maybe that 70% or that 60% or that 30% that you talked about in the Hispanic community is doing the same. Like, hey, I'm not putting my body on the line, but I'm down to drop $100, $200 or whatever to this GoFundMe, this fund or whatever. I think we have to do something. We have to continue to push back, because it is very scary in my eyes what can happen if he continues down this route of authoritarianism. I talked about it at the beginning of the opening of the show. This is how Nazi Germany was born, and it literally is what's happening right now. So, but
we can't
covering some of it. Okay, yeah.
But we can't be the only people seeing this, though. I think that's
are,
my problem. That's my problem. It's like, why are we? You know how many minority groups there are in this country? We're the group.
They're negligible, though. You gotta think. It's Hispanics, than us. Then you got like 1-2% of Asians and anybody else like that. We're the only other large group that they can reach out to and say, help us, right? I mean, it's almost pointless. I hate to say pointless, but it's not a lot that you're going to be able to get. And to be like, Asian Americans, help us. That's 2% of the population that already associate with whiteness anyway. It's going to be hard to pull them into your cause, because they have proximity to whiteness. So we are, when I talked about we're the face of oppression, it's like, hey, we're being oppressed, guys. Can y'all help? Y'all know what it feels like, right? You can empathize with us. Can y'all help us? It's part of their call to action, is to say, empathize with us, come help. So and they're doing, and then you lean on those white people that would come in, the freedom riders and that everything. So then you can get to a majority. That's what the Democrats have done for the last 20, 30 years, is try to make that big tent mentality of saying, hey, let's go against the white oppressors, right? The Republican Party, it generally has been your, white nationalist, white evangelical type of party. So that's what the Democrats have done. And so I think the Latinos are making that case, and they're trying to get everybody involved. And the other part about that, I want to
say everybody too, who do you mean? Who are they starting with?
They're asking everybody, but
who are they starting with?
They're specifically asking black people, because again,
don't start with me.
We're a large.
Don't ask
we're
me.
A large block.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
But and what I want to kind of point out, the whole, we talk about the fuck around, find out, or whatever. I think I make those jokes too, Buff. I do. I'm like, hey, this Latino guy that voted for Trump is being deported right now. Ha 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 ha. That's funny to me. It is funny to me. But at the same time, I see that irony, but I also see the scariness of that, right? Like that we are literally going in, rounding up. ICE is going into foster homes, pulling children, undocumented children, right? Unaccompanied minors that have been here, been placed in foster home. They're pulling them out of foster care to deport them. Like, that is just inhumane, right? And
my question is,
those types of things where it's not about the Latinos, it's about those kids, right? Like, it's about the community. When they go in to, I think I posted it, where a teacher came out crying. He posted a TikTok where he was crying because ICE came into the play at the elementary school, and
it was a graduation.
And like the parents had to run out.
I think it was a preschool or a kindergarten graduation.
And like the kids were like, I don't know if I'm going to see my parents when I get home. Like that, that is inhumane.
Bleeding heart,
right? Like
bleeding heart.
That's not about me helping the Latinos. That's me helping those kids, making sure that we have humanity here in the United States. Because again, just like Buff said, like I said in that thread, is as soon as they finish with demonizing the Latinos and they feel like they've gotten enough of them out of here, they're going to shift focus, and we're the next big block. And now they have the playbook, and they have popular opinion where, oh, it becomes normalized. That's the normal thing. It's no big deal. And that's what I'm really, really scared of.
I think my thing is there's a couple of things. First of all, they're coming for us anyway.
Not like this, though.
They've always come from us. They're going to continue to come for us. It was fine when they were coming from us, killing us in the streets and all these things when it wasn't affecting Latinos.
It wasn't,
and I'm not anti-Latino.
It wasn't when they were coming for us. It was we could legitimately say it was systemic, but at the same time, individuals were doing that as one-offs, right? Especially with the like police killings and things like that.
But nobody cared. But we knew.
We knew it was systemic, but I'm saying it's not blatant enough to where they're saying we're gonna actively do it. We don't care, and we're still gonna come in and into your home. ICE can walk into your house whether they have a warrant or not and pull you out because somebody said that, oh, I think they're illegal, and they don't give you a court date. They don't let you defend yourself, and you get deported, and they send you to Nicaragua or they send you to Congo or Senegal.
And do you think anybody would have a problem with them sending us to Congo or Senegal or Liberia or anything? This would not be an issue. My point is, I'm gonna go back to your original question. What should we do? We should ask for a action of good faith. Show me what you're doing to galvanize your people before you come for my people. Show me what you're doing to go tell that 60% that let this happen to all of us. What are you doing? What is the message to them? Like, what is the message that
Buff does that to Obama all the time, right? Like, stop coming for us. Talk to the white people.
What is the message to them? What is like, hey, where are my Chicanas? Like, where are my Chicanos? Like the people that identify more as white, the people that are born here, that had that, like, where are they? Hey, Florida, where you at? You know, go talk to those people. Let me know what you're challenging them to do. Let me see you turn the tide, because let's say we galvanize, we come, we save the day. Goes back to normal. We're back at the bottom. And they're fine with it. They've shown they've been fine with it. They prefer it that way. 60% of Hispanics said they were cool with going the way it was. Not even the way it has been. They wanted to see more because everybody knew that this guy. Now, if they would have elected Kamala and Kamala would have did this, like, you know what? I ain't see that shit coming. We all saw this coming. We didn't see it to this extent, but you knew something was coming. It came a little harder than you thought. This happened on your watch. Because 84% of Black African Americans voted for something different. 60% of Hispanics said we want something going in this direction. We didn't think it was going to go this far. Or show me how you're addressing that 60%. Because the minority is the ones that said we don't want this to happen. So the minority needs to talk to the majority, come to consensus, and then come to us with a plan. Because me jumping in, and you still got 60% of people that still might vote for this shit again, because we don't hear the 60% in the uproar. We don't hear them. That's what I'm saying. They're not challenging the 60%, and so that's my whole thing. Maybe they'll get rid of the Hispanics that hook Hispanic, but then what happens to the other people? Like, I don't know the long-term effect. Are they okay? Are they okay? Kind of okay with how many of that 60% are okay with what's happening now? Because they're asking me if I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Go ask the people, the Hispanics for Trump, Latinos for Trump.
Yeah, because it's funny. That I can't remember. One of us posted they were interviewing some of the blacks for Trump, and like 2 of the 3 said, "Yep, they were still good, and they would go and vote for Trump again."
Yep. So are the 60%? Are they outraged? If we had to vote again, what would that look like?
Yeah. Because Marco Rubio is studying, like, trying to defend all of this.
And so that's my thing. So, but once again, come back to us. We need you to save us from the boogeyman, so things can go back to normal where you guys were getting oppressed. We were okay with the way she was, and we want them to stop and frisk, because these were think about the things we were scared about: the stop and frisk, the unarmed killing of Black men and children and women. These things, the taking away of our rights and all this stuff. We didn't see this coming like this, but these were things that they were talking about that we knew were coming. that were quite possible. Nobody had a problem with that. Nobody had a problem with that. Now this is happening. If nobody has a problem with it, like, why is this any different? I know it's egregious. Somebody's always going to be the people on attack that are being attacked. And I'm not saying good for you, and I'm not excusing this. This is deplorable. I'm ashamed that this is happening in our country in 2025. But my thing is, like, I don't know. We have enough things going on in our community where our kids are suffering, the destruction of the Black family. I'm for everybody Black, right? Destruction of the Black family. I know it's a narrative, but this gender war, all this, we have enough stuff on our plate that we need to heal, that we got to take a time out to come do this when this is self-inflicted.
Yeah. I definitely get that. It's like, hey, you fight the ICE battle.
Tell me your plan. Tell me your plan to get your people on board, and then come holler at me. Just like as men. Like if Rising said, hey, Ferg, I need to borrow $1,000. I'm like, okay, what do you need to do? I'm trying to buy something that's $1,000. I'm gonna look like you, like, so you need $1,000 to buy something that's $1,000? You don't got $100? Now you said I need $1,000. If you say I need $1,000 to close on this $10,000 deal, and you're the missing link to get over the hump, that's different, right? But to say, hey, yeah, we messed up. Can y'all come help us? No, go get. Show me what you've done to help yourselves.
Yeah.
So that's it. Act of good faith.
Like when you put it like that, especially when you talk about all the fronts that we're having to face and fight right now, you guys take care. You guys take care of ICE. We'll take care of the Department of Education because they're pulling that money too. We'll take care of SNAP benefits and because they're pulling that. We'll take care of the sewage system that they're trying to pull down in Selma. And so yeah, that's a valid point.
But ICE right now only affects them. So we're just saying, hey, handle this part. We'll take on everybody else's trouble. Once again, the face of oppression.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you need to divide your forces, because why do we need to be the face? Everything we're saying affects all of these people, all of these groups. But we're supposed to be the answer. And you literally voted against us. You divorced. We're the face of the oppression. We're the parents of oppression for the country. You legally divorced us. You divorced us. You spit in our face. We're in our feelings. Black people are in their feelings right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've always been there for everybody. We ain't even say come save us. It's like, hey, let's not let this happen, right? Let's just, what's the worst Kamala can do? Because I know this dude right here is about to fuck some shit. Kamala might be, she's a female and all the narrative you have against her. Cool. But this dude about to fuck some shit up. And you were like, I'm okay with that. Go watch that video, Buff, because they talk about the closest to whiteness. They talk about the machismo and like the misogynistic mindset in a lot of the Hispanic community, and part of the reason they wouldn't vote for Kamala. It's a lot that goes in. This is directly from them. It's not them, somebody speaking. It's some Hispanic people speaking. But when you hear it, it's like, that makes sense. And they're saying what we're saying, like, hey, Black people shouldn't, if they're saying, hey, go get your 60% together before you come for us, they get it. It's like, we just assumed because, by default, there's a problem, where are you guys at? We're the 911 of oppression. Like, you call us, we're going to show up. For gays, for women, for whatever, we're always there. So we sat this one out, Fade to Black.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
One question. I'm sorry. I'm very annoyed by this.
It's fine. Closing? Is that what we're doing? Ferg over.
Yeah.
That.
I'm scared. I'm nervous, but I'm offended. I think that's what it comes down to. It is I'm offended. And I think as a people, that's where we're at. It's not that we're just like, we're offended.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, we've always been there and we told you not to do this. You went and did it, and now you want us to bail you out. And if we bail you out, guess what's going to happen? We're going to be back at the bottom dealing with the same. What is the best case scenario after we go to war and have everybody's back? Shit, to go back to the way it was. And what does that mean? a shitty life for black people. We're gonna fight this fight just for to just go back to being bad.
So it don't get worse. Sometimes you got to fight till it doesn't
Yeah.
get worse.
Yeah, I get it, but it's like it didn't even have to. We could have avoided. We could have avoided this whole thing.
We know. Hindsight 2020.
We knew. We tried to talk.
So I'll go first, man, as we close. I just want to say, one, shout out to Leah. Love the trip. Just got back from Chicago. If you guys have not seen Kendrick Lamar's concert, go. It is by far one of the best concerts, top 5 probably that I've ever been to. Don't have to know every song. The energy and the concert in itself is still just kind of top tier, even if you don't know every song that he was singing. And he did mostly GNX. He had one throwback set, but him and SZA, it was no opening acts, no locals or anything like that. It literally was 3 hours of him and SZA taking turn doing sets. And
Nice.
like, it is dope the entire time. You're on your feet the entire time, having a good time, you know, and it's a perfect date type of vibe, because you got Kendrick, you know, for the dudes out there that want to be a little hard, and then you got SZA for the ladies, and you know, the guys can be a little soft with their lady too. So it's a great time. And so shout out to Leah for kind of setting everything up for my birthday. It really did make me feel special. Thank everybody for all the birthday wishes, all of that was happening. I do want to say that the WNBA, y'all got a long way to go on the skill set level. Ferg, I see what you were saying, man. It felt like a very high level high school basketball game. That's really how it felt from a skill set.
I've never said that, by the way.
Not that, but like just honestly, just being honest, like that's how it felt. Like the fundamentals were just like the missed layups and fast breaks and things like that. It really felt like I would be fussing at a high schooler, right? Like, how'd you miss that? And that's what it felt like there. So was able to do that. Great time there. But I will tell y'all, I'm getting old. And how I know I'm getting old is I got back and I was cutting my hair last night or the day before and literally pulled a muscle in my back cutting my hair. So, and I've been hurting for the last 2 days. So,
That's a new one.
I reached up. I was like, it's like pain straight up my back. So, yeah, it's getting old, man. Time's coming at us. But even though I wouldn't trade it for the world, I appreciate getting older, 1 year older, and appreciate all the love that I get for it. So that's all I got, man.
Good stuff. All I got is, first, our Supreme Court has rejected Mexico's lawsuit in which they were trying to sue U.S. gun manufacturers for the gun violence that they experience in their country. Most of their guns are made here in the good old USA. So they were trying to sue them, and the Supreme Court said, nah, we're not going to let you do that. I just thought it was interesting because, you know, we blame Mexico a lot for the drugs that get here and things like that. So it's kind of like Mexico taking a jab at us. I found myself on the wrong side of history this week as Lil Wayne dropped the Carter 6, and it has been a long time since I have seen you Negroes be this unanimous. I think I've seen more disagreement on whether or not mac and cheese belongs at the cookout. It was unanimously called trash, and I get it. I'm a Lil Wayne fan. Let me put that out there. And I actually rock with about 8 songs. It's 18 songs on there. He just added 2 more, one with Nicki Minaj, one with Lil Baby. I haven't heard those 2 yet. But out of the 8, there are 2 that I will say not trash. Maybe you don't like, not trash. But my opinion doesn't matter. Everybody has called it trash. I get it. I actually saw this coming. It's very easy not to like him, especially if you are a true hip-hop head. Lil Wayne doesn't say anything. He makes good bars that rhyme. He calls it up to Trump. He says stupid things about Black Lives Matter. And so I have seen, as a Lil Wayne fan, I have seen support for him wane long before the Carter 6. Hell, Carter 3, when you can say he was at the peak of his powers, I began to see this shift on him. And every subsequent album since that, I've seen it more and more. So it wasn't a surprise to me. I just think how unanimous it was I was like, God. Yeah. I was like, look at this shit. I was like, oh man, everybody hates it. So, sorry, little fella. You got to go back to the studio and or just accept or just accept that this is where you are. Hey man, it happens. I don't know. I don't know if it happened to this extent.
The problem with Wayne has a flow, a very good flow, and he's so eclectic now because I think he's so removed from everything that's happening that his production doesn't fit his flow now. Like he's picking beats that just don't match. Like I was saying, I really think it was the beats more than it was his flow or anything that just messed it up. And then he picked some people to be on there with him that just killed him. Big X killed him. Big Sean killed him. Like hell, Jelly Roll killed him. Like you know what I mean? It's like his features wasn't a good play on what he was doing.
It's okay to get killed on a song, but I thought Bo Money Jones made a good point. When you're an old rapper, you can't be picking a whole bunch of different producers. You need to pick one producer to do the majority of your album. So you look at Nas. Nas is the biggest criticism of Nas his entire career is he doesn't pick good beats. And then with the King's Disease 1, 2, and 3, he stuck with Hit Boy and he's found his stride again. I do think there's something to it. When you get older, you need to find a producer that you have a chemistry with that can make beats specifically for you. Young niggas like Lil Baby and hell, I can't even think of Playboy Cardi or whoever's hot. They can go get 5 or 6 different producers. They hot right now. You ain't Carter 2, 3 hot no more, bro. And this is your fan. This is you number 2 on my list.
And plus, you have people at a certain age, the people who are going to rock with you, or the people who rocked with you. Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of times, and maybe it's just me. It's a conservative mentality, right? You want something you don't want it to change too much.
Right.
There's very few artists who have lasted long, who have changed. Like if you got a crowd, these young dudes ain't checking for Wayne like that. So you need to make sure that you give some reminiscent beat from the Carter 3, like Buff needs to be like, okay. It feels familiar. You're not, you can't change. And Wayne is so, like Rosie said, I think so. I didn't even make it through the album. Removed from everything. That is just in the flow. It didn't feel like a Wayne because his beats were with his flow and his beats. Mm-hmm. Like the Carter 3 is probably one of the best albums. I can still listen to that to today. Almost no skips, right? And it was just, even when a song dropped, you were like, hold on, let me run that back. Like, let the beat, like, the man, like, it was just.
There's a reason why rap is commonly referred to as a young man's sport. We've seen people defy Nas, Jay-Z, but it's usually a young man's sport.
Fred told you. Me and Fred had this argument the other day.
I mean, there are people that can defy it, but usually it's a young, because, by the time we get to our age, But one more thing on rap, and this should make Razio excited. Raekwon is coming out with a documentary called The Purple Tape Files. And it's just talking about the whole Only Built for Cuban Links album and just how it, there are certain albums in hip hop. I still want to have that hip hop episode. We're going to work on that. But there are certain albums in hip hop that left a stamp on the culture. Like you mentioned a particular album, you're like, oh yeah, I remember where I was when I first bought that, first listened to it.
Quimini and yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be, and listen, I'm excited, and I am the least of our entire group. I'm not a Wu-Tang Clan fan. But I'm excited because this is one of those classic albums that you, like, whether you like it or not, it's one of those albums you hear about. There are certain rappers and albums you hear about when you become a hip-hop fan. You hear about Rakim and Eric B. You hear about Illmatic. You hear about Reasonable Doubt. The people called it the Purple Tape. That wasn't even the name of the album. You know what I'm saying? It's built for Cuban links. I remember at first, a long time ago, I was like, I don't see no Purple Tape under his discography. So I saw some of the people that's speaking on it too, like Kendrick's on there. I think it's going to be a really good documentary. So I hope they've done a great job with it, and I can't wait till it drops, man. So that's all I got.
All right. Man, good stuff, fellas. This was a good episode. I apologize for being angry. I'm really passionate about us just
We
succeeding.
like angry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just passionate about us
The anger
succeeding.
gets you done.
Yeah, I'm just passionate about us succeeding. I want everybody to win. Honestly, I'm not against anybody. I might come off as an asshole. I'm just very tough on people because I like sometimes you got to be tough, right? And I'm tough on men. I'm tough on women. I'm tough on black people. I'm tough on everybody. I'm tough on myself. I'm probably too tough on myself because I feel like I just want everybody to win. So I apologize if I came off a little rocky. But what I will say on a better note is, man, happy Father's Day, fellas.
Father's Day.
It's tomorrow we're recording this on Saturday, No King Saturday, which is so crazy that's even a thing. But happy Father's Day. You guys are great fathers. Hopefully you get to enjoy your day, celebrate being you, even if it's just not doing anything or even if it's doing a lot. Just make sure you enjoy your day. And if I wanted to be the first to tell you guys that, I appreciate you. I look up to you guys as fathers. Your kids are all older than my kids. So I've watched you guys along the way and definitely proud of you. And to all our fathers out there, by the time this episode drops, I hope you enjoyed your Father's Day. For everybody who might have a strained relationship with their father, I'm not telling them to go buy them a car to do anything. Give them a call. Tomorrow's not always promised. You can't change the past, but you can build on the future. So don't take it for granted if there's somebody in this world that was a part of giving you life. When I look at life and how things got here, we're all lucky to be here. The world is perfectly imperfect, but there's so many things had to align perfectly for each and every one of us to be here today. Conception is just a crazy thing in itself. I know we give a lot of credit to mothers for caring and all this stuff, and I'm not here to debate that, but just for you to be here today, that egg and sperm had to meet in the perfect place, the perfect time for you to be who you are. So just don't take it for granted. If you have a father that's living, just reach out. Happy Father's Day. Text, whatever it is. Don't miss out. With that being said, three brothers.
I want to add on to that just a little bit. Reach out to the father figures in your life too. I think that there's no day for them, right? Those coaches that like poured into you, especially if you grew up with a single mom and you didn't really have a father. Reach out to that father figure and just say thank you, right? Like I want to expand Father's Day a little bit to that, and have that. Appreciate them. Appreciate that time that they spent and poured into you while you were growing up. That uncle, right, that might have stepped in and been that father figure, that person you could talk to and ask about things. If you didn't have that dad, hit them up and tell them thank you too, because they had to step in and do some things sometimes that they didn't have to do, right? They're being good uncles, but there's no Uncle Day out there, right? So shout out to those father figures that had to step in and play that role.
I appreciate that, man. That is an awesome concept. As I think about it, we need a father figure day. Because there are, as much as we, the world wants to think about deadbeat dads and all this stuff as a whole nother conversation. There are people who step up to be that other person. You can't replace that father, right? But that to pour into you and give you to fill your cup, help fill your cup, even if it's 10% of what that not having that father's presence or whatever that father's not providing, if they can give you a little bit more. So I don't know if we're celebrating Father Figure Day yet, but I like that concept. So shout out to the father figures as well. So 3 Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast, 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again.
Share too.
Share. Damn, I knew that time. I knew that time it didn't sound right. All right. It was a